As far as the squadron trial has been going out, Wing Commander Lit Blitzy has said it is going very well, and we could possibly see the full return of squadrons and squadron discords within 3 weeks.
So that was a fucking lie.
When the documents were in place, Buford, you listening? Now get this. That's when the sub...
So we'll get right into it by saying that May started off pretty well, but right around the 10th you might start to notice a bit of a decline in both the squadron member count and all of the ranks, which is around the time that Lit's announcement was made, but surely this isn't related at all. So quick hitter's note, I know I kinda shit-talked the entire high command throughout the video. I know I shit-talk Rust a bunch, but like, he's not incompetent, he's just super inactive. Like, when he's actually active, he's competent. But the problem is he just goes inactive for like months on end. And like Lit, he just forgets stuff all the time, like we have to remind him constantly. And then WizX, he's just busy with being GFM and everything. And I'm not saying that the removal of squadrons itself is the reason that this decline started. I'd say rather it's the constant indecision and inactivity of the high command. An example of this is the dress code Trello. I was offered to make the dress code Trello in February. I then made it the same day, and it took a month and a half just to get sent to the IEA. But then they forgot to send the IEA, so it took even longer, and then it was only 2 months after I had made it that it finally got released. But then the issue was that it wasn't on the document Trello. You know, surely this would be a quick fix, only like a day or two at most. But it took 3 fucking weeks of me asking everyone before it finally got updated. And this is what happens when we take anything to high command, because they take forever for no reason. And the only reason it got added is because I DM'd Irish to add WinZex to the Trello so that he could add it. Because as is usual, Rust just does nothing and we have to work around him. WinZex isn't too active too, but this is because he's the general field marshal, so he has a ton of other stuff that he has to focus on. He can't only focus on the Airforce. Rust, on the other hand, just hasn't done like anything in months. Like, the only few things that only he can do, he takes forever to do them. When I qualified for OCS, it took a week before they finally sent it to me. And when I asked Rust why this was, he says that he doesn't actually check like any of the non-commissioned officers. And it said he relies on Lit to send all the recommendations. And then I talked to Lit, and Lit said he recommended me twice, and that it just wasn't sent out. We don't even know if he'll be at his own inspection. I asked multiple people, and I asked him twice, and after like a week, he finally responded and was like, I don't know if I'll be there. And it's not just Rust, it's almost the entirety of the high command. When it came to the dress code trail and basically everything else, I go to Rust, and then he says, I can't do it, you gotta ask someone else. So I asked them, and then they say, I can't do it, ask someone else, and it's just a constant cycle. And it got to the point where I made a group chat and added the entire high command in it, so when I have a request, I can just send it to all of them at the same time. And it'll still take days, usually, before they finally do it. Like Exxon people, that takes like 30 seconds at most, and it'll take them like 1 to 3 days to do it. Now there's just a group chat called the 33rd Reform group chat, and this is basically the entire thing that is running the Air Force right now. But the problem here is there's like 8 people in here, and they're all very different people, who all have very different visions of what they want the Air Force to be. And this has led to a situation where no one in there can agree on anything anymore. We've stopped even like trying to get stuff done, because anytime anything comes up, it just turns into name calling and constant arguments until everyone just leaves. The 22nd Squadron was announced in February, and after months, nothing had been done for it. And so I just decided I'm gonna do it myself. It's not at all my job to do this kind of thing, but I did it anyway, and I made all the documents and the Trello within a day. And in typical high command fashion, it took 3 days of me asking over and over before it finally got approved by them. Then I sent it to the IEA, and it only took them 6 hours for them to approve it. My power was out for almost a week in the middle of the month. And as I was sitting there on my phone with no electricity, I still carried out multiple reforms. And by the way, these were not things that I came up with. A lot of the ideas coming out of the group chat are not really things I agree with. The thing is that these are the people that are in charge. So I don't feel that it is my responsibility to constantly guide them away from what I see as bad decisions. I'll just carry it out, and then everyone can see that they are making bad decisions. But then the thing is that when everything starts going downhill, the entire high command just points fingers at each other. Or otherwise, they'll just say there's a boat, there's a trend in the IG, and it's not our fault that anything is going wrong. And when you look at graphs like this, you can see there is a trend, there is a boat. But you can see that we are not in this boat. We are at the bottom of the fucking ocean, drowning, because the high command is too unable to enact competent decision making. These people that log on 1 to 3 times a week will go and tell us, the people hosting 40, 50 events, that we're not active enough for OCS. In fact, despite everything I've been doing for the Air Force, I was told that they were considering not promoting me as they didn't think I met the requirements for Major. So now I say let's go into the polls and see what the people think about this. I don't want to spend too long going to the polls, so here's everyone's rating. Something funny you may notice, if you combine the average rating of the 33rd CO and XO, that is only a 0.8 difference away from my average rating. 40% of people think the 33rd Command is not doing enough, and 1/4 respondents said they regret joining or plan on leaving 33rd soon. Now let's move on to the specifics of the gains and losses of this month. As mentioned earlier, we had an overall loss of members this month compared to last month. While we spent most of last month gaining members, we spent most of this month losing members. This is despite the fact that we announced 40 more tryouts than we did last month. Despite the fact that we can no longer XLP for Strike 3, we still lost more members than last month. We did have a pretty high number of trainings this month, although moving back onto the rank distribution, this has resulted in our rank distribution getting even worse than last month. Now moving on to the announcements, I want to say that last month, when I said 75 members, I meant the Airforce overall and not just 33rd, which we did hit due to Airborne gaining members massively as we constantly shrunk. Out of curiosity though, I decided to check how long this would take based on the growth rate of April. As you can see, if we kept up that growth rate, it would have taken 2 months to hit 75 members. And how about the growth rate of May? As you might notice, the graph is going in the wrong direction. From that, you might be able to say that the Air Force is going in the wrong direction. So for June, I'd say our goal is to just not lose members overall. It was also announced this month that air patrols would be removed. This was because air patrols only consisted of just sitting around for 10 minutes flying in circles, as there was usually no raiders on. Now what I suggest was just to remove them entirely and not replace them with anything, as having an easier promotion requirement will result in people ranking up faster and us being able to fill our gaps in officers. They also announced that squadrons are being moved this month. Past that, the 33rd Command does still plan on changing the standard Air Force training, although they can't agree on fucking anything, so who knows when this will ever happen if it does. So with all that said, don't forget about the inspection. High Command has set this staggering goal of getting at least 17 33rd attendees. So let's hope that goes well, and let's hope June will be a lot better.
Did I ever tell you what the definition of insanity is? Insanity is doing the exact same fucking thing over and over again, expecting shit to change.